everybody, and welcome to episode 12 of the Shinesparkers podcast, and Happy New Year to everyone. I'm Amanda Van Heil. I'm going to be your host today, joined by Roy, Dalagonash, and Leon. So why don't you guys just first of all introduce yourselves and let us know what you do here at Shinesparkers.
I'm Roy, and I'm the Deputy Creative Director of Shinesparkers, so I oversee everything whenever Darren, our Creative Director, is not around, and yeah, pretty much a regular on this podcast.
I'm Leon. I'm one of the graphic designers at Shinesparkers, so I'm mainly responsible for creating some of the header images that you see on various articles on the website.
And hi, I'm Dalagonash. I'm a contributor, so I've got a couple of articles up on the website. Popped a couple up last year. Just general thoughts and feelings about Metroid and all things within that area of Nintendo.
So we, of course, know Metroid as a video game, with this year being its 35th anniversary. But what do we think of the idea of Metroid as a board game in a more tangible way? Does anybody have any ideas about what they would like? I know for me, I am a big fan of the game Sorry, and I am totally ruthless when I play it. Like, I am a total sore winner and sore loser. And so I think it would be fun to have it where you take all your little Metroids and you have to try and get them around to the tank, and then you have to be the first player to get all your little baby Metroids into the Metroid tank, and then like your Metroid can take out other Metroids and like suck on them, and that makes them have to go back to start. I think that would be fun, where it's just like Metroid Sorry, because I just really like that game.
I'm gonna be that person. Leon, do we have Sorry in the UK?
I should know this because I work for a board game company, but I do not know this, so I'm gonna say no comment.
Okay, do you guys have Parcheesi? Because it's the exact same thing.
Parcheesi is another one of those where I hear it on sitcoms and stuff all the time. I don't know what it is.
Okay, so the concept of Sorry is like you have your little pawns in your little starting place, and you just try and get it around the board and into like the home little area, and you draw cards to see how many spaces you go, and if you land on another player, then you're like sorry, and then you send that player back to start, so then they have to go all over again.
I think if I'm getting this right, we have a similar game in the UK, but it's called Frustration, and it's got a big old, like, everyone knows it because it's got the dice.
Is that the game with the bubble in the middle?
Yeah, you smack the bubble and it rolls the dice.
Okay, here it's called Trouble. So
Trouble?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No, it's Frustration. No, why are you doing this?
They call it Trouble here because, like, on the commercials back in, like, the early 90s, they go, "What are you kids doing?" They'd be like, "Getting into trouble."
Oh my God. See, I love the fact that your name for over in America is, it's a jovial, "What are you doing, kids? Getting into trouble." In the UK, it's like, "So what is this game like?" It's just bloody frustrating, mate.
I think that reflects perhaps the moods of both nations.
I think so too.
Very good. But is it like that game? Is Sorry like that game?
Yes, it is.
Okay, right. I'm on the same page now. I understand. I'd be into it for little figures of Metroid going around. I think I just want little figures of Metroid.
I know, they would be so cute. Like, I'm just imagining little baby Metroids going around, and it'd be just so cute. Oh, another fun one would be, like, I don't know if you guys ever played Shark Attack. That was, like, another, like, early 90s game where it was, like, this mechanical shark, and, like, it would go after your little player, and then, like, it could eat you. So, I don't know.
What?
Maybe it could be Mother Brain would be the shark, and Sam is trying to eat.
No, surely Ridley should be the shark, shouldn't he?
I mean, here's me saying Sar X.
No, Kraid is a better fit because Ridley is all bone. There's like no meat on him.
Yeah, it's got to be something that can, like, eat it.
He needs bulk up, basically.
Actually, I think Other M, he bulked up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's just emaciated.
And then he's all metal from one point as well.
Yes.
Big bulky boy. Is there actually a Metroid Monopoly? While I'm thinking, while we're clearing off these, classic games.
There is a Nintendo Monopoly that has a Samus pawn, but that's about it.
Oh, that makes me sad.
I think having a Metroid Monopoly would sort of cause a similar effect to Federation Force, where it will cause a lot of fights in communities and families.
I hate Monopoly.
See, the last time I played Monopoly, which was eons ago, it took us 5 hours, and we were still not done.
Holy crap.
I hate Monopoly. It's one of the worst games ever.
I love Monopoly, but again, I'm very ruthless in every game I play. And so is my family. Like, my whole family, when it comes to, like, board games, is, like, every man for himself. Like, nobody's nice to the other one when it comes to board games. We're all, like, super competitive about it. So we're usually finished with a game of Monopoly in no time because we just take each other out.
So I'm looking at that Nintendo Monopoly board now, and I see that the Samus Ridley, specifically an image of Meta Ridley, and a Metroid got slapped on the oranges. So that's pretty good value.
The orange ones are pretty good.
At least they're not the blues, which everyone hates but also loves. Because, like, obviously that always... When you land on blue and someone else owns it, that's, like, the most...
Oh, well, what, like Mayfair and Park Lane? That's Mario and Luigi.
See, I knew they were up to no good.
Wait, what are they called for you? Wait, do they have different names there?
Oh, no. Yeah, because Monopoly over here is based in London.
Okay, yeah, because the dark blue ones here are Boardwalk and Park Place.
No, yeah, Park Lane and Mayfair in the UK. The whole board is London-based.
Gotcha.
Although we also own a Cornish edition. There's a Manchester edition. And, yeah... I hate Monopoly. Anyway.
One for every flavour of Britain.
You know, this whole time I never even thought about the setting. I just saw the names.
Speaking of which, Sea of Thieves Monopoly out soon, yeah. I would, if there was a Metroid Monopoly, though, what would get those dark blue spaces? What would they be?
Dark Samus, because Phazon.
Would that be like the Phazon mines?
Pirate Homeworld. I'm going to just put that out there.
Pirate Homeworld, nah, that's getting slapped on the basic browns. Can you imagine they release it and like Kraid is one of the browns? They're like, this is what we think of him.
No. Even like if they were to put the games instead of locations, Federation Force and Blast Ball Blue.
I wish people would stop dissing on Blast Ball. I love Blast Ball.
It was brilliant. It did not get enough love though. Like it should have got more attention than it got.
It should have had more features to it and more time put into it. I think they put more time into putting the mechanics of Blast Ball into specific missions.
True.
But Metroid Double, anyone?
Double?
Metroid Double?
Double. Have you not heard of Double?
I know Double. Yeah, that's the
okay, what is Double?
One, isn't it?
So we might have something different.
It's the matching one.
Yeah, so basically every card has a bunch of symbols on it, and there's different ways to play. So one of the ways to play is you're trying to get rid of your cards by matching a symbol between your card and the middle. And there's, no matter which two cards you're looking at, there's always going to be a matching symbol between the two. And as soon as you see the symbol, the match, you shout out what it is, then pop it into the middle and so forth. And there's like different ways to play it, which is pretty cool. So like if Nintendo wanted to do a low effort Metroid board game tie-in, make it Metroid related symbols.
I mean, thing is, I would enjoy that because you could put some really niche enemies on there.
True.
And just put some niche as hell power-ups. And then people are like, spiny crawly thing.
But demand that everyone uses the official name for it. So, it's not called that.
If it was about niche stuff in Metroid, I would probably slay the competition because...
Yeah, probably.
I was going to say, Roy, I feel like you would do very well at that.
Oh, I would crush
Especially considering like your art project of like all the enemies on rocks and everything.
I would crush everything. Leon, a couple days ago, you were streaming Corruption.
Yes.
So you remember that big dead creature that you have to walk through?
Yeah, the gross thing.
Yeah, which is disgusting.
Very gross.
It's in Corruption and Pirate Research.
Kind of made me hungry.
What?
I'm not going to ask. Anyway, that is called a scarp. apparently.
Fortunately, that would be way too big for a double card.
What about Chozo artifacts? So you can have the artifact of soul, the artifact of earth, the artifact of sun.
I mean, if they don't want it to sell at all, then yeah, wicked, roll with it.
The only thing they need to make it sell is just put Zero Suit Samus on the cover. It'll move like hotcakes.
True.
Anyway, Roy, didn't you actually have like more of an original board game rather than ideas of existing games with a Metroid skin?
So I did. I don't know if this is similar to a particular game. I've kind of combined elements of Battleship, Capture the Flag, and Mario Party, and maybe Monopoly. I've sort of borrowed here and there. So this would have 10 players, and you would be on the side of the Galactic Federation, and so you play as Samus, Adam, Umos, Admiral Dane, or Anthony. Or you could play on the side of the Space Pirates, Ridley, Kraid, Mother Brain, Dark Samus, and Sylux. Sylux isn't a space pirate, but I just needed to use another popular Metroid villain. Your goal is to wipe out all of the competition and or collect up to 12 Chozo artifacts. So it's a bit like Battleship and I guess chess. There are tiles all around the map, which you can flip to be red or blue. Red for pirates, blue for Federation. So like you roll with a dice and it determines how many tiles you move up across the board. And when you land on your tile, you flip it from red to blue or blue to red, which is kind of what you do in Mario Party.
Sort of like I can't remember the exact name, but is it like called Takeover or something like that? No, is it it's with the counters which are black on one side and white on the other.
You thinking of Othello?
Yes.
Really old school. Okay.
That's it.
Oh, okay. So I guess it is like Othello / Reversey is what it's also called. Kind of like Metroid, every player has 100 units of energy, which is how much you get in an energy tank. You can place items on random tiles before you start, so like Ice Beam, Screw Attack, whatever. And if you land next to someone, you can use the item to hurt them by some amount. Like, if you have the Power Beam, it damages you by 5. If you have the Plasma Beam, it damages you 70 points. And if you have the Ice Beam, it freezes you for a turn. Naturally, if you run out of energy, you die, and you're eliminated. There are also 6 tiles with Metroids. If you land on one of those, it sucks your life energy and you die. The only way to render those tiles inert is to land on them with an Ice Beam, which then kills the Metroid and then turns it into a regular red or blue tile. So yeah, that's kind of a rough concept, but I thought, wouldn't that be fun?
I like being able to frame through a board game, like if you could frame Metroid more in that heroes versus villains framework and actually show something that's more group of people and let me play as Ridley.
I actually had a hard time coming up with hero characters because Samus doesn't have a lot of living allies.
And yeah, I was about to say, like, she basically killed a whole bunch of them inadvertently. Well, not inadvertently, but you know what I mean.
She didn't mean to.
She had to. She had no other choice. She euthanized Rundas, Gore, and Gondreda.
She made sacrifices.
Yes.
Fair.
You're saying, like, Rundas is just like an injured puppy that is in a lot of pain and just needs to be...
And then she sat all melancholic on the landing site and reflected on them, got into her ship, and took off with Sylux in pursuit, and we still don't know the outcome of that because we don't have Prime 4.
What? So, I'm interested, did you have, like, the board game concept first, or did you approach it from that, I want heroes versus villains? What was the...
I wanted to do something unique. Like, you know, you can have a licensed version of a board game, and that's cool, that's fun. But I also like to take things up a notch. So I was thinking what's a game that's very popular in groups? Most of them are like tabletop. What kind of board games are popular in groups and have like conventions and such? Tabletop. So I kind of went from there. I don't play a lot of tabletop stuff, so this is all kind of rough, and maybe this concept will evolve over time. If I could ever get in a position where I could get Nintendo's permission to make it, but I wouldn't know how to get there. That might be fun.
It is a shame because, like, you look at some companies like Capcom especially, actually, and Bandai Namco. They've been really good. Oh, and actually, Sony with Horizon. There's a company based in the UK called Steamforged Games, and they've actually done licensed Resident Evil 2, Dark Souls, and Horizon Zero Dawn board games, and they are works of passion. They are really lovingly put together. I've actually got the Dark Souls one, and let me tell you, that game has too many counters. It's such a ball ache to set up.
So I sort of had another sort of idea for a board game. It's like part of it I was thinking about earlier, and part of it I sort of came up now-ish. But instead of like being a team versus team sort of thing, it would be just everyone works together sort of thing, like exploration.
That's cool, because I've got a co-op idea, but yeah, I'm interested how they'll differ.
I was thinking something that's a bit similar to Betrayal at House on the Hill or Mansions of Madness or something like that. So you could have...
For the room who hasn't played... I have played Betrayal on the House of the Hill, but for anyone that hasn't, Betrayal on the House of the Hill is a horror game.
Yes, horror.
But it's like the house is procedurally generated from tiles, and everyone plays a unique character. But the twist in House on the Hill is that as you play, you're all working together against the house. But then after an unspecified number of turns, something's going to happen, and one of you is going to become the bad guy. And the killer that you become is going to be dependent on like all these multitude of factors.
Yeah, like which room you found the omen item that triggered the haunting.
And then from that moment, it's everyone versus the baddie, whoever became the baddie. And it's such a great moment because it's like when you become the baddie, it's like you take this one little book of all the killers, of all the like monster motives, and you have to go to a different room and read your monster. And then like everyone else doesn't know what you can do. They have a win condition, you have a win condition as the monster, but you don't know each other's conditions. So it's this really interesting guessing game. I was a stretchy monster that gobbled people up, and they trapped me in a furnace.
But I was thinking, so it'd be mostly cooperative, but I suppose like you could have something like traitorous, like in Betrayal. So, for example, obviously it would have to be pre-Prime 3, some sort of phase-on corruption, like you see in corruption. So each of the tiles will have the same art style as the original Metroid, and you could have different sections as the base sections. But to get to the new section, you have to retrieve a specific upgrade. So whether it's like the grapple beam or a plasma ray, or whatever, and you have to find the upgrade throughout the I cannot speak today. Procedurally generated area, or you could like space station or a planet or however you want to put it. Haven't put a great deal of thought into it, obviously, but and then you could also have like little other bits. So you could have like Metroids. So sort of going back to what Roy was saying with his idea, you can only get through a room with a Metroid if you've got ice missiles or something like that.
Ice beam, yeah.
So that'd be pretty cool. And then you have a main boss, the big boss at the end, which you might need other upgrades to defeat.
I do think, because obviously there has been a boom of cooperative board games as of late. He says only being able to recall the name of one, which is Pandemic. But like co-op board games are quite nice, and like I think similarly to you, when I've approached my design, which I'll talk about in a minute, like as you've done, I've thought like, how can you try and simulate Metroid-y getting items to access areas gameplay, but in a board game, which I think is quite an interesting concept.
I was actually thinking, have you ever played the thing, Outpost? Oh, forget the name of it now. It's like my favourite game, and I shouldn't remember the whole name. But it's a board game based on the thing, like a secret identity game. Have you played that one at all?
No, I've played plenty of other secret identity games, but not that.
But so one, like the main thing to get through each sector is you have to get certain items, like a stick of dynamite, and you have to kill a thing. But you randomize the tiles throughout the different rooms. So I was thinking you could probably do something similar with this board game as well. So you randomize the tiles, and some tiles might be an upgrade, some of them might be an expansion upgrade, and some of them might just be nothing or an enemy or something like that. So you have to like properly explore and stuff. And so like another cool, when a character gets an upgrade, no one else has that upgrade yet. You have to all reconvene with each other to be able to share the upgrade.
Could you stop stealing my ideas before I...
Sorry. Well, I say great minds think alike.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we're doomed.
but no, it's I see where you're coming from. And I like that concept of a group exploring a space, but then also having to coordinate their movements with each other. It's an interesting one.
I don't play well with others as far as like co-op.
Well then, you'll be happy to know that there is also a solo play mode as well, where you play as Samus.
Okay, no, I like the sound of that. Like, I've tried playing tabletop games that involve like everybody like sitting around and playing together, and I don't know, I don't do it well. And I think it's just I grew up playing everything by myself, so I have no teamwork skills whatsoever.
I think the hardest thing about these like teamwork games is that ultimately one person typically takes control of what the plan is going to be, despite the fact that you're all moving individual pieces. That's like the hardest part of a co-op game, to keep everyone invested and interested when ultimately one person is going to be like, this is what we're doing.
I basically do that all the time in Nemesis.
Not playing Nemesis with Leon.
Well, not in a mean way. It's just because Nemesis is one of those games which takes forever to set up. But yeah, what was your idea there, James? We keep detracting from that.
Oh, sorry, I was just waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. My idea. So yeah, similarly to you, I was like, the idea of a co-op thing appealed to me, despite Metroid being quite a solo experience. But like, I don't know, has anyone else in here played Pandemic? Which is quite an appropriate thing. And I'm not talking about 2020. Like, we all played 2020. I'm talking about the board game Pandemic.
Yes, it's one of the games that we demo quite a lot.
Yeah, I don't care to play 2020 again.
Well, Pandemic, for anyone that doesn't know, it's a co-op board game about the world being overrun by 4 viruses. And basically, you as the players move around the world and you remove the viruses from cities, but all the while you're doing it, you're trying to collect enough like research points effectively to create the cures for the virus. So it's a game about, where do I need to move? Where do we need to control this? Like, how do we keep a lid on this? What area of the world is likely to blow up? Because as soon as you get like enough virus on a city, if you get another block, you add another block to all connected cities and stuff. So it's all about keeping it under control, and it's very good.
Very difficult.
Very difficult. Yeah. You will lose a lot. Although there's a version of it called Pandemic Legacy where you effectively play a year, and I desperately want to play it because it's a rolling narrative. Anyway, that's different subject. But so I thought the idea of Pandemic could be interesting if you apply a similar sort of concept within a Metroid framework. And sort of my idea was that you as the players play a group of Galactic Federation. So whether like one of you is a trooper, one of you is a scientist, so you all have these roles, and you're on a space station when it comes under attack by pirates. So it comes under attack by space pirates. And so they... it would either... I haven't thought about it to great lengths, but it would in my head, it's a big old space station, and then so you would pull cards at random to decide where the space pirates have like burst through, and where Metroids are kind of like there, and where the Metroids are multiplying, and then it would be up to your squad to move around the space station. And where it would differ, like from something like Pandemic, is you would try and incorporate more Metroid ideas into it. So whether, as you said, Leon, whether that is finding skills and power-ups that allow you to unlock areas that are currently locked and get through those, to access more areas of the spaceship. Whether that is, another idea I had was that you shuffle in more random elements than something like Pandemic. So maybe you could draw a card that is phase-on experiments, and suddenly Metroids in a certain area become powered by phase-on, and so you can't go there until you have another ability. But like you might not always have the phase-on card in the deck and stuff. Sometimes it might be a different sort of mutation that could occur.
I sort of like that, the adaptable environment sort of thing. I like that.
And then I was thinking you could also add elements like maybe Ridley is patrolling the station, so you've also got to try and predict his movements while you're moving around and things like that. I thought that ultimately the goal would be that you're trying to restore power to the station, find the password to access the computers, because everything would have gone into lockdown, and then the ultimate goal is to access the control room after power's been restored, and you have the password to send a distress signal to Samus before the pirates take complete control or wipe out your team. Because I like that idea, because then it's got a tie to the Metroid games, and it's this idea that, if you guys don't do this and get the signal out, then Samus isn't going to get there, and the pirates are going to be able to do nefarious things.
That actually sounds really good. I want to play it.
It's a hard one doing a board game about Metroid, because as was said earlier, Samus is such a lone wolf, which is why I think Roy's idea is, in my head, it was either a co-op game or it was a hero versus situation, like Roy said. I just don't have the depth of knowledge, and I went, can everyone be Samus? I'll be the baby.
Oh, I just thought of another good tie-in. Metroid Blast Ball Sabutio.
Yeah, I'll be down for that.
That'd be amazing.
Oh, another fun one. Metroid edition of Cards Against Humanity. I'd totally play it.
Okay, yeah, I would play that, yeah.
That would be so fun.
I'm not going to say any potential cards on this podcast.
I know, I'm sitting here thinking, none of the potential cards I could think of would be nice for me to say on a podcast. But I think it would be a very fun game, for sure.
Yeah, subscribe to the Shinesparkers OnlyFans to hear our uncensored podcast.
I don't know if you class these as board games, but another avenue that would be interesting for Metroid actually would be escape room boxes.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know if that would be fun.
Yeah,
because I've played a couple of those recently, and they're really good. I mean, all it is just everything's contained in a box, and you just read through it, and you get clues, and you get a big old map you pull out, and you triangulate and hold things in certain ways. That could be really cool, a proper Metroid mystery. Samus is trapped on the planet, and you've got to free her so she can sort stuff out.
That sounds really fun. I would play that.
Yeah.
Basically, Nintendo, you got no excuse.
Yeah.
Nintendo, come on, we gave you all these ideas. Make something. Just make something.
Make something. Use it to drum up sales for Prime 4, and that's how you'll get a return on investment. And then you'll make more Metroid games. And we'll finally never have another hiatus again, and Metroid will be the top-selling series that we always wanted it to be.
Basically, most of your Metroid fans are of the age that currently, look into and play board games, so we want it.
Yes.
Basically do more than a Fortnite skin.
They haven't even done
but
that
also
yet.
do that. I was going to say, we don't even have a Fortnite. Kratos and Master Chief are there galloping away. Samus, bounty hunter, best Nintendo hunter. Oh man, that email happened, and and it was so this is going to appear on PlayStation? Yeah, nah, mate.
Now, if you guys have any ideas about what you would like in a Metroid board game, be sure to tag us on Twitter at Shinesparkers and let us know what you would like to see. All right, well, that is it for episode 12 of the Shinesparkers podcast. Thank you guys for joining us today. I had a lot of fun talking about Metroid board games. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful 2021, at least an improvement on 2020 for sure. Hopefully we'll even get a new Metroid something this year, even if it's just some Metroid news. I think we'd all be pretty happy.
Even if it's Metroid Monopoly. I hate Monopoly, but I'd be fine.
Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next mission.
See you next mission.
See you next mission.
See you next mission.
Well, hi, everybody, and Happy New Year. Welcome to episode 12 of the Shinesparkers podcast. I'm Amanda Van Heil. I'm going to be your host, and I am joined by Dalagonash and who else? Oh, sorry, let me see. I had to think of who's actually talking here. Let me try that again. I did get a hat for my kitties. I tried putting it on Bentley. It's this little knit cap with little rollers on it to make it look like his hair's up in little perm, like he's getting a granny do.
Oh, the sound things on Audacity just blew up there for me.
Have fun, Darren.
Shinesparkers only fan. Darren, we need a Shinesparkers only fan.
Obviously, Ridley has to be our main star because Samus gets too much of the limelight. So let's bring Ridley up.
It's true.
Zero Suit Ridley. Screw it, let's just have Operation, but you pulled things out of Ridley.
This podcast was edited by Darren Kerwin, with music from Maserati. If you enjoyed the podcast, you can find more at shinesparkers.net, along with the latest Metroid news, community features, and exclusive content. Alternatively, you can also find us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next mission.